Hello everyone, my name is Dorian and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video is the third in my YouTube series titled Media Munchies, and basically what I'm going to be doing is going through the different books, TV shows, and movies that I have read and watched for the month of March of this year, and I will be rating them on a 5-star scale. If you haven't watched my other two Media Munchies videos, I will go ahead and link them down below as well as up above throughout this one if you want to go ahead and watch those as well. But without further ado, let's get into the video. The first book that I read this month was actually a reread of Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo in preparation of watching the Netflix series Shadow and Bone, which actually comes out next Friday. This is one of my favorite books as well as the first in one of my favorite series, and I don't really care what anyone else says because I know there's a lot of mixed feelings out there about it. It's amazing, and I really think that I would recommend it to anybody who's interested in YA fantasy. The world that Leigh has created is just so expansive and so unique, and she really does a great job getting every aspect of her world across throughout her Grishaverse books. This is the first of her Grishaverse books, so it's Shadow and Bone, then Six of Crows, and then the King of Scars duology. I'm a sucker for YA books that are about girls who have unknown magical abilities who are thrown into a world that they never thought they would be a part of, and they turned out being a very important part of that world. On top of that, if you add a little bit of betrayal and a sort of love triangle, I am 100% sold. Something interesting about this while I was rereading it is I was actually picturing the actors who are playing the characters in the TV series when I was reading this, and it honestly gave me a different sort of perspective of them, if that makes sense, while I was rereading it. I don't know why, but just picturing them as I saw them in the trailers so far just made a difference somehow. But I really enjoyed visualizing the characters as we're seeing them on screen because I feel that the on-screen characters really reflect those that Leigh wrote. I just want to say that I love this book with all of my heart, and Leigh Bardugo is an amazing author. So I gave Shadow and Bone 5 out of 5 stars. The first show that I finished watching for the month of March was Wandavision, and this show was so good. Again, I'm gonna say I know people had mixed feelings about it, but I really don't care what anyone else thinks. I enjoyed it immensely. It was amazing and I loved it. I honestly found that it wasn't like anything I have ever seen before. It was very unique and it did a really good job of settling into this new phase of Marvel that Disney Plus is trying to create. WandaVision was extremely mind-provoking and it really kept you guessing and wondering about things the entire time, especially after the first 2 episodes where people had absolutely no idea what was going on and how our characters got to where they were in those first 2 episodes. I think that the first season definitely left off on a good note, and it did a good job of leaving us wanting more and hoping for season 2, and I think it'll do a good job of introducing another season as well. The only thing I will say, unfortunately, about this show that may not appeal to everyone is that, unfortunately, if you haven't seen a majority of Marvel movies from the past, such as the Avengers movies and a lot of Iron Man, Captain America, the Thor movies, all of those things, you are going to be extremely lost watching WandaVision, in my opinion. You're gonna miss a lot of the Easter eggs that they leave here and there, and I just don't think it would be a good idea, and I don't think you would enjoy it as much if you haven't seen the previous Marvel films before watching WandaVision. Otherwise, I think it would be good to go. I forgot that the other thing that I didn't like about WandaVision while watching it was when the actress playing Wanda kept trying to do her accent from the first movie she was introduced in, which I think was Avengers Age of Ultron. It was so bad. It is so bad, even in that movie. So in my head, I was just like, why are they even trying to have her do this? Just have her not do it, please. But otherwise, everything was good in my opinion. The last thing I will say about WandaVision is that after watching the first 2 episodes, I called how things happened and how the TV land that Wanda and Vision were stuck in was created. I don't know how, but right off the bat, I knew exactly why, and I knew exactly how, and I knew exactly who created that TV world. And in the last couple episodes, seeing how it was created, I was on point and I called all of it. So, of course, I gave WandaVision 5 out of 5 stars. The first movie that I watched last month was Message from the King, which is a Netflix original, and it has Chadwick Boseman in it. R.I.P. This movie was pretty over the top. It was okay in my opinion. Chadwick Boseman's acting and the other actors' acting was really good, but there was no real closure at the end of the movie, and I didn't really like how it left off. The storyline throughout the entire thing was also kind of choppy, and some things didn't flow as well together. The cinematography was pretty good though, and I thought the dialogue was okay as well. So because I didn't really enjoy this film as much and I thought it was over the top, I only ended up giving it 3.5 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read was Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. This was also another reread in preparation of the show, and this is again one of my favorite series. Shadow and Bone, Six of Crows are up there and probably will remain up there for a long time. I honestly love everything about this book, and I think in this book especially, Leigh does such a good job of character development, and she really gets into each one of the members of the Dregs' heads and their backstories, and that's what I really love about this book, because Shadow and Bone is more about the plot, and I think that Six of Crows is really more about the characters, as well as King of Scars. I think that duology is also more about the characters, but that duology also seems to intertwine characters and plot a lot better than Six of Crows and Shadow and Bone, because like I said, they seem very separate, plot versus characters, whereas King of Scars combines the two. Not to say that the plot in this and the characters in Shadow and Bone aren't also amazing, because they are. The ending of this book will always leave me bawling my eyes out and just heartbroken, so I love that even though it leaves me destroyed. I also really like how different this story is from Shadow and Bone, even though it's set in the same world. So I also gave Six of Crows 5 stars. The next movie that I watched was Raya and the Last Dragon on Disney+, and I actually really enjoyed this film. Going into it, I wasn't really sure if I was gonna like it or not, because not only was it different from a lot of what Disney has done in the past, but I didn't know the storyline very well going into it, so I didn't really know what to expect, but I came out of it pleasantly surprised, and I thought it was actually a really good Disney movie. It's definitely up there as well for my top Disney movies. And I'm not like a Disney super fan or anything. I like Disney. I'll watch a Disney movie. I'm not like obsessed with it, but I really liked this one. There were a lot of twists and turns that I did not see coming. There were some that I called, but majority of them I did not know that they were gonna happen. I also thought that the world building and the visuals were very well done, and although the names of the different tribes kind of fell flat for me because they were just the different names of a dragon's anatomy or whatever, I still thought that they did a really good job of explaining the world that Raya lives in, and I really liked it. Personally, I think that both adults as well as children will enjoy this film. I mean, clearly I'm an adult and I enjoyed it. I thought it was very well done for the age that Disney targets, which in my opinion is younger kids through middle-aged adults probably. I know maybe people 40 and up wouldn't be really interested, but I think up through your 30s you would enjoy it. There was one thing that really turned me off in this film though, and that was there's a baby and like 3 monkeys who are working together in one of the tribes as cons. So there's like a con baby, and I don't know why, but this aspect of Raya and the Last Dragon just really freaked me out and I was not about it. So that was the only thing that kind of turned me off. So I gave Raya and the Last Dragon 4.5 out of 5 stars. The last movie that I watched last month was the third to All the Boys I've Loved Before, Always and Forever, Laura Jean, and I will admit I did not like this film that much. I didn't like the second one either. I think they probably should have left it at 1 film, in my opinion. I think the first film was done very well, and I thought they left off on a good note, and I thought it did Jenny Han justice for her series. But then the second film came out, and I don't even think I watched it all the way through. I maybe had it playing in the background and then was doing something else, but it just did not cut it for me, and I wasn't really a big fan of that one. So going into this one, I had low expectations anyways, which I think kind of helped a little bit. And I will admit, it was a cute movie, and I think people who watch it would enjoy it as just, I don't know, something to watch on a night where you're just bored and need something on in the background. But as a film to really sit down and just focus on and watch through and through every single scene, that's not what this movie is, and that's really unfortunate because I really liked the first one. I will say that I liked the shots of Korea in the beginning. That was very cool and it makes me want to visit now. I also really enjoyed the soundtrack. I think another reason that this film turned me off was because there's a conflict between our two main characters about having a long distance relationship, and I've never been in a long distance relationship, so I don't know what that's like, but personally, especially younger people, I feel are extremely overkill about it. And I mean, in this instance, Lara Jean and Peter are high school seniors who are applying to college, are trying to get into colleges to work towards a degree, to work towards a job, to work towards their future. So I didn't like how Lara Jean was putting so much pressure on herself to stay near her boyfriend, to stay near Peter, and giving up her dreams of going across the country to go to school for writing and for English. So I didn't like that aspect, and that's just me personally, so I think that also is what ultimately turned me off from this movie as well, if that makes any sense. I'm not trying to call anyone out on this. Like, you can have your own opinion, this is just mine, so please do not get offended. I'd appreciate it if you didn't. I also just didn't really like Peter in this film either, or the last one, honestly. He was just acting kind of rude, and I didn't like how they threw in his dad all of a sudden. All of a sudden his dad was there, after we only heard about his dad in the first film, I believe, just in passing. So I thought they could have cut all of that out and didn't really need that. I just thought it added unnecessarily to the film, and it didn't really add anything anyways. So overall, this movie was cute, but I didn't really pay attention and I wasn't engaged with it the entire time. So I gave it 3 stars out of 5. Alright everybody, that concludes my Media Munchies for the month of March, and I hope you will smack a thumbs up on this video and hit subscribe to help my channel grow. I really appreciate you watching, and I will see you next time.